I feel like that is probably one of the more unique things with any hunting film I've ever seen, where it's like, and you can come hunt here too. So many of the hunting films, especially a lot of them that are shot on public, like you're not saying anything about where that place is. Like, no, you can come here.
Bro, to just say it because I'm so used to being so like shrouded in secrecy. It's like, here's where I was. Anybody that's listening that does book it, send me a message. I'll tell you as much as I knew, as much as I learned. I'll send you pictures. Hey everybody, welcome to 2026 and the Fair Chase podcast. This is our first podcast, I believe, is the new year, which is exciting. We've got some really exciting projects and things coming up, and just excited to get back podcasting with people that we know and are learning from, and so on. So many of you guys probably have followed the Fair Chase and know that we released a film back in December, kind of recapping my hunt in Wisconsin during the rut, which was an awesome time. A great film, turned out great. The hunt, everything was up until my execution of a shot was perfect, and it unfortunately ended with some disappointment, which is pretty standard for deer hunting. But what I wanted to do today is, invite Nic De Castro back from LandTrust, but also get John on from you. Actually, if you've seen the film, you'll see John right at the beginning of the film. He's the guy who manages the property and handles it, and kind of makes it so when people book through LandTrust, it's ready to go and there are deer everywhere, which is what I got to experience. So Nic, John, welcome to the podcast. How are you guys? Doing good, great. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you on. So, just to recap, I mean, this was, I think, this was early November, and from our side, we were looking for a spot to do sort of a rut style hunt. If you follow us at all, we do a lot of public land hunting, and so. I'm looking at different public land options, and I realized, man, we had talked with Nic at LandTrust, and they have these great like short-term lease options, and it seemed like something worth trying for me to try that. So it's a lot of our listeners are going to look at it as, you have the year lease or private property, or you have public land. And what we wanted to show was there is actually other ways to access land that's really high quality. And so going into this hunt, I reached out to Nic, and Nic's like, hey, I've got this great piece of property with John out in Wisconsin. You guys should talk. So John, you and I talked a couple months ago, and just kind of, he gave me the rundown of the property and files of deer footage or trail cam footage, and even like a spreadsheet of like sightings and metrics and stuff from past years. So John, let's start with you. How did you get even connected with LandTrust? How does that even work?
Yeah, I think I'd seen a listing for LandTrust on Facebook actually, and I kind of looked into it, and I think it was follow the links if you're a landowner type thing, and that connected me with Josh, the onboarding specialist. And, we went through the process. It was fairly simple of getting, he does a great job, get everything set up and get the listings up. And he actually does so much for me because I'm not super literate on the computer. I hate clicking, filling stuff in, but I can email him. So I'll email him and say, hey, can we do this? Can you, I'll send them my pictures, links to updated trail cam pictures or property updates. And he does a really good job keeping everything updated and current. And it's great to work with.
Well, and I got to know Josh fairly well, and this is kind of a cool thing about LandTrust. Like up until this point, I was following several properties, and so that you get updates when new pictures are uploaded. But once I got the hunt started, kind of booked, he reached out, kind of connected me to you. So it was like from my end, like super easy. It was just talking to you and setting a plan, which was cool.
Yeah, correspondences are really good. I don't know how it works from your end, so that's why. You're really good as a booking person to explain, as a guest, what the property's like, how the entire process works. I, from my end, can talk about how easy it is from a landowner's aspect. But I really put a ton of work into my properties, into my listings. One, because I'm kind of a geek when it comes to deer hunting.
I mean, who goes back and saves all their trail cam pictures and then puts a spreadsheet together on dates, what stands each buck was by. I like to track them every single year from a year and a half, 2.5, 3.5 to see if this buck was by this stand during this time frame, will he be again next year and in the following year? So I just like to, put all that data together and keep everything up to date. And I also think if I were a guest going somewhere, I would also want or appreciate that information and intel. And for any guests that come to book, I like to share the week prior, go over all the trail cam footage from that week. Not saying that's what's going to happen this week because nobody has the crystal ball, but it is good knowledge to have in your back pocket anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised with how easy it was and how much information I had, especially, I mean, even if you lease, you rarely get the kind of information that I had or the kind of property that's kind of built for hunting. So it's like, my fear going in was like, oh, kind of like a tragedy of the commons type thing where it's like everybody uses it in and out, no one really cares. And I got there and it just was like, holy cow, actually, it's not like that at all. There's deer everywhere. And I mean, if you see the film, you'll see literally the first sit. I could have shot that 10 point at 10 yards, like in the light, broad day, like broadside daylight, and we couldn't get the camera on him. And so I passed him. I was like, shoot him.
yeah, right.
You can explain it after. And I was like, I was trying to be a good boy. I was trying to like not have my cameraman kill me.
And you're like, oh, it's first day, it's the classic first
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
he didn't spook and, he walked away, but, now, and my camera guy's like, well, why don't you, I'm wearing them right now. I got my meta glasses. He's like, well, did you have your meta glasses on? At least you could have filmed them with that. I'm like, I didn't know that you were cool with that. I don't, and we've done a lot of filming together, but every time we do it, it's like you learn some new thing that, that will work or not work, and you kind of work out how you guys work together. But this episode is brought to you by 2O Gear, innovators in technical hunting clothing. 2O is a newer company. It's based right here in Michigan, and whether you're hunting elk in the mountains or chasing antelope in the plains or traipsing through swamps after that ruddy buck, 2O has you covered with premium jackets and pants, merino wool layers, everything you could possibly need to stay comfortable in the woods. Their products are engineered for functionality and durability, ensuring you stay protected in any conditions. Plus, their camo is really effective. We're big fans. So don't take our word for it, though. Go to 2ogear.com and check it out.
It's a lot. I mean, what you are doing is 10 times, 100 times harder than just the average person going out and trying to connect by themselves. I mean, you're coordinating with somebody else and trying to make that moment all come together and connect. And it's hard. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do that. Tell you that.
A lot of right? You get like a cool film. You look badass. Like there's a lot of, but like one of the biggest hardest things is anytime we do a deer hunt, it's finding the two trees that are either one tree that we can both get into, or two trees that are close enough that work for two different tree saddles that work.
Oh my gosh.
And you think it's easier?
Not on the property use that Wamandy Creek. The way those trees grow down there, it's not easy to find a tree just to put one tree stand in. So to find two, yeah, that's a feat for sure.
It was. Yeah, and so that first day went by, and that deer came in and went. The next day, or maybe in the day after that, I had one of the days we sat, and I saw maybe almost 10. It's like either shooters or borderline shooters, and I saw one, like there's a giant, like there's a 6-year-old buck that I saw walking around. I don't know that we got footage of them, but they would be, because some of your property, your neighbors are like, they're serious kind of about their deer management too. So it's not like,
Everybody, yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like seeing deer come on his property, and like I'm right on kind of the edge at this part, and I'm like, holy cow! It's one of those, rut mornings where there's a hot doe that went through, and I saw bucks running across fields and chasing each other and fighting and just like crazy. So it was a good time to be there.
Yeah, those are memories that, last forever. I mean, I've got, a countless, I couldn't tell you how many hours I've got logged, on my ass in a tree stand. And, the, just those split seconds, that 5 minutes of action, what you put in your brain will last forever. I mean, to me, that's on top of it, and then you have the tragic times where you make a shot and you make a connection and you might, not harvest your deer like you did, or, I've got so many in my memory of times that I've shot and I've missed, at 20 yards. It's like, what the heck, you know,
I missed that 16 yards, or you're just like,
and you're just sitting there like, what the heck just happened? I mean, you replay that in your memory.
yeah.
I wish I could block them ones out, and like don't think about that. But yeah, it happens. It's all part of the sport. And
It's a game. Well, I think I said it in the film, but like it's a game of if it's just a game of small areas, like small distances. So like, for a while when we were hunting, I was maybe 30, 40 yards from another tree where there was a stand or whatever, and I set up, and if I had been over there, I would have had a shot at a couple deer. And then when I shot that buck, that was a one long shot, a little high, but like, you move that arrow down this much, that deer would have gone,
yeah, 50 yards or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
with that mega meat, like, and I've hit a deer once in the brisket. I've had a few where I didn't find it in my life, but I've actually never had where you hit no man's land. And we didn't show this on the film, but weirdly enough, so when I go get him to stop, and I'm trying to get him, it's just right before dark, and I'm trying to get him in my pin, so it takes me in my peep sight, takes me a minute to get set. When I shoot that buck, even in 20 yards or whatever it was, he dropped almost a foot by the time he had impact, because he had so much time looking at me before I shot. And so that little bit of drop, that can influence it an inch or
Oh,
two
absolutely.
different.
Yep, absolutely.
So I got, mostly we almost got entirely good comments. One guy wrote in there like, "Oh, you maybe need to spend another $3,000 worth of gear. I've never missed it." I'm like, you have enough
For you, buddy. You're the one guy, huh?
You haven't pumped enough if you're not pumping.
Right.
So, well, Nick, like, from your perspective, you've started a really cool company, and you're an entrepreneur, you're just a grinder, and that's, how I've gotten to know you. But like, as you put property get together, when somebody like John reaches out, how do you vet them? Like, how does that work? How did John pass the test here?
Yeah, I mean, so over the last 6+ years, we've been running this business. Every landowner, every property that's listed here, we talk to. You can't just come list your property with us or just create an account and do all that stuff. So as John was mentioning, Josh and Colton from our team, we talk to every single landowner. We go through, property ownership and making sure that, everyone says who they say they are. And there's a lot of kind of just walking through on the phone and getting photos and maps and all that kind of stuff done. And it really helps. The thing is too, you mentioned tragedy of the commons earlier, which is funny because I published an article this morning on the tragedy of commons in public land hunting. Yeah, literally, it's called the tragedy of commons in public land hunting.
Tell people what that is, because not everybody's an econ major, or maybe a real, private property, Adam Smith type guy.
Yeah, so it's the basic concept of it is there's a shared resource that has kind of like open access to it. And so as rational actors, we're going to go and extract from that resource. But there is no one person who has the responsibility for, the outcomes of it. And so public land hunting is like the perfect example, especially since hunting is extractive, right? You kill a deer, the deer's off the landscape.
Yeah.
And so, it's something that I think on private land, and you have landowners like John, and going back to your question, like,
our private landowners, most of them are owner operator farmers and ranchers. So they farm and ranch for a living, and they have obviously they have this land, which is where they run their business from.
Yeah.
And they've lived their whole lives there. They're out there 365 days a year. They know what good populations of deer or turkeys or whatever it is, right? Looks like. They plan to be there for the next generation, and so it's not this extractive thing like let's hunt it out and let's just make as much money as we can right now or whatever. So I say all this because the types of landowners that we work with, this isn't like large absentee paper company land.
Yeah,
it's not that at all, right? It's like guys like John who are like, no, they know their property like the back of their hands, and they manage it very well, and they're very particular about how much they want to hunt something, what they want to allow, all that stuff. And so we're kind of fortunate because of the types of landowners that we have on our platform. We don't have to stress so much about, again, if we had a bunch of large absentee landowners, it'd be kind of impossible to do, and the experience would be a lot worse, frankly.
Yeah. Hunters, when you're gearing up in the field or at home, you need tools as tough as you are. Tecton, a family-owned company from Grand Rapids, Michigan, makes hand tools with classic design and top-notch function. Perfect for pros and weekend warriors. Their sockets, ratchets, wrenches, screwdrivers, pliers, and organization systems are built to last. Tecton's growing, and it's hiring for roles in manufacturing, engineering, software, marketing, and more. Check out Tecton.com to shop tools or apply. Well, it's funny because, it's totally true. I hunt public land 95% of the time, right? And part of me is like, yeah, I try to be careful and smart about the deer I shoot and stuff. And so, I'm careful in that respect. A lot of people aren't. But, in terms of blowing up a spot, I know that somebody else will be there tomorrow. So if I find hot sign or whatever, I'm going in right away and just assuming that I'm going to take my shot the moment I have it. If it blows it up, unless I know like it's a spot that people aren't going to go to, but a lot of the public land is pretty, saturated for where I'm at. I'll go right in and hunt and not really worry if I blow it up.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, that's the only option because it's competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, when it gets to that point, it is competitive, and that's the thing is public land is an amazing resource. It's a kind of backbone of, the North American model, but it was designed at a time where we didn't have digital maps and all the stuff that we have today, social media and et cetera. So it's just
been a lot less sportsmen. I think there's a lot less hunters. The way public land gets pressured, and there's so many people. I hunted public for many, many years when I was younger, and it's like, man, I'm gonna get in there extra early, and I'm gonna go the extra mile in, and
yep.
It's like all of a sudden you do all that, and you're sitting there, and you're getting to be prime time, and then here comes somebody. And it's like, man, all of that. I call it kind of a headache or a nuisance, I guess, that can completely be avoided, going through these, land trust private land, because when you book that land, that's your property to use for that entire time with, nobody else, no interruptions, just you in the outdoors. And, and the way I got, I know you were kind of worried about pressure a little bit. I mean, because you kept on asking like, hey, is there anybody in there before?
Yeah.
Or is there, and to tell you the truth, and I don't know if I actually, there's people that ran those properties just about daily. And, I've got, it might not work everywhere, but the properties that I have listed, I've got them really set up so that your entrances and your exits are extremely low pressure. You're really not, the deer have their space and you've got your space. And as long as you get in before the deer are moving and, let them do their thing and leave when they're, clear and out of sight, you're not going to kick them off the property. And that's, I work really hard at getting things set up that way. And you just got to kind of trust the process when you're out there.
That blew me away. Like getting to my stand could not have been easier. I mean, especially for a guy that's hunting public land where I'm swimming through, autumn olives and, swamps and whatever else to get to my spot.
Yeah, right.
To get to that spot no one else is. This like, a lot of it was like sandy and quiet, and like I never had a deer I never had a deer pick up ground scent and take off. I don't think I never blew a deer out of there getting into my stand at all.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I have. I mean, it does happen every once in a while, but it's Lord. I keep everything. All the access trails are mowed. If I can't get a mower to the stand, I weed eat past, down through the woods and, keep everything trimmed up really nice. And
Yeah.
the only thing you really have to be concerned about when you're going into the woods, and I try to tell every guest that comes, is just be aware of wind direction and thermals.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So two things to keep in mind, and just cross your fingers that deer are moving through that stand location at that time, because, like you said, they can be, especially on the county end property they can be 60 yards away and over a little valley. There could be, 8, 10 deer moving and you might not see one, and it's like, if you would have been in the stand just south, you would have seen a whole bunch of them. So, and that's the way hunting goes. I don't care where you go at that point, but
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's funny, John. You said the word headache earlier, and that's honestly, it's kind of why I started the company. I hunted public land my whole life growing up. I grew up a bird hunter, so big game has only been since the last 10 years, basically.
Yeah.
I was living in Colorado, and yeah, and I'm hearing this a lot more I moved from Bozeman down to Alabama about a year and a half ago, and a lot of my Bozeman friends, Montana friends, are just like, man, public land is getting abused, and there's
saturated. Yeah.
yeah, they're like, I mean, LandTrust makes so much sense. Like, it costs me money to drive around. Like you said, wake up extra early, drive hike the furthest, all that stuff for someone, 5 other people to be doing the same thing. And it just, when I go outdoors, I want to have peace. I want to be like, I don't want to be stressed. I'm stressed at work. I'm stressed in my daily, I have 3 little kids. The whole point of going hunting, for me at least, and you guys have killed way more deer than I have, for me is to like disconnect and not be stressed. And that whole like chess game on public land now that it's become it's just like, it's stressful to me. And I don't want to do that. I want to wake up when I want to wake up and like get out there and not have to be like, I got to hike 3 miles further.
Yeah.
So it really is.
Your trophy photos are buried in your phone, and the details from your best hunts are already getting fuzzy. Trophium fixes that. It's the app built specifically for hunters and anglers to document every detail: location, weather, gear, and the full story, preserving your memories and allowing you to share them with your crew in private groups. Download Trophium today wherever you get your apps or at trophium.co. Yeah, especially on like a trip out of state. It's one
Yeah.
thing like if I'm hunting in my back behind my house and there's public land, I'll just go out tomorrow or
Right.
I
Whatever.
rest.
Yeah.
But like, I'll give you a great example. Last year, I went to Wisconsin and did a public land hunt. We actually had a riot. We camped on a river on an island on a river for a while, and then ended up kind of moving into another area. The last day, I'm kind of in and out of bucks all week, and I'm like, I found the sweet spot. This sweet spot. Like, this is my, so I get there in the morning. I'm unloading. My buddies are with me. They're going one way. I'm going another. And right as we're going out, another car comes out, and they show up at the same time. They're unloading. They're walking out. I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to these guys and see where they're going. And this one guy's like, I'm going, and he describes exactly where I was going. And I'm from Michigan. I'm a Midwest guy. I'm nice.
Midwest nice. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you know what, man? You got it. Like, you go up there. That's where I was gonna go. I'm gonna adjust and I'll go somewhere else. I don't want to, you've whatever. Well, I come back to the truck. He's got a 10-point. He literally sat in the tree, not like I set a pin, like right where I was gonna go. He's like, oh yeah, and by the time I'm out of the woods, and my hunt that morning sucked because I tried to adjust. You look on the map, you don't realize what the ground is like always, because you can't tell even with onX and how great it is. And it ends up being like
a waste of a morning for me. And he, in the meantime, he shot this 10-point. And so, for example, it's like you go out of state.
You showed up 2 seconds too late, right? You pulled up right behind the headlights in front of you. You're like, oh.
And I was too nice. I should have like arm wrestled him for it or something.
But yeah, you know how I wonder, like if you showed up 10 minutes earlier and you were on your way and you got set up out there and he was already going to the same place he would have showed up there. What would have that done for your hunt, as well? Nobody, you and him both probably would have been, done for the day. So, but that's the way public land. Yeah.
It's fine. It's a great resource, but the more variety we have in going out and hunting, the more we're spread out and the better everybody's hunting is. So like to me, LandTrust is, whether you use it or not, it helps everybody because it just
It's a pressure release valve.
exactly as much as we can have options, the more option. This is like, how do you get fuel costs down? Get a bunch of alternative, get electric cars, whatever so, we have more options and there's less, demand and, things are just
Less competition.
exactly. So,
Well, and like I'm taking my 6-year-old daughter out. I took her out this last week. She did a 5-hour sit, her first time out. 5 hours. Didn't see a deer, dude. Saw a skunk, and that was very exciting.
And she's going to go back out.
She's just ready to go, man. I was like,
Yeah, it's pretty impressive after sitting for not seeing anything. Like,
years old.
let's go do it again. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. A no phone, nothing. I didn't even bring my phone to the stand. So we're just hanging out. She's playing with my Leatherman. I was shocked on it. At 3 hours, I was like, we can go in. Like, it's not a big deal. But, for that type of scenario, we just had an amazing property in Florida just list, which is an hour from where I'm at here in Mobile Bay area. But yeah, it's like shooting houses are set up. Connect with the landowner. I got to get her to see a deer in the stand. Like after doing 5 hours, like I got to get her. And private land, like I don't think I could take my 6-year-old public land hunting yet. Just like what you got to do and like all the things we're talking about and where you got to go and what time you got to get up and how far you got to walk and all that kind of stuff. It's like I probably couldn't get her in the game yet. Whereas with this, like being able to, work with landowners like John and all of our other landowners, like, no, this is perfect. We can bring the camper out there, have a very like controlled, safe environment where she's probably going to get to see a deer. And as we all know, with new hunters, I'm shocked she wants to go again because these 5-hour sit with nothing. Like you just want to get them close to a deer.
Yeah.
Like if you're a hunter, if you've got it in you and you get to see a deer, it doesn't see you, and it's just you get to watch them. I feel like that's gonna get you hooked,
Yeah, that's the best part. I mean, if you think hunting is about shooting and harvesting a deer, you're gonna get disappointed really quick.
Yeah.
Because to me the best part is just experiencing them in their natural setting and all the other wildlife that goes with it, and peace and serenity, and and just being out, with yourself or with the people, that you're out with, and enjoying a great time and disconnecting, and and that's the whole part of it. If it's about shooting something,
you're going to be bummed.
yeah, I mean, you'll be done in your first year. I mean,
Well, and I've learned the hard way taking some folks out. I kind of like the struggle for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But not everyone, I've only because I'm there's just not a lot of people who care as much, and I've done it for a long time. So I'm like, whatever. Random Tuesday morning, I spend 45 minutes trying to get to a spot just to hunt, and it's awful, and you're sweating, and you're lost, and you're stuck with thorns, and I don't really mind that. But like your 6-year-old minds that, a lot.
Yeah. You're gonna burn them out fast on that, So, by the way, a quick tip. I don't know if you guys have used that Merlin Bird ID app, but that's really fun in the stand too. Like you're sitting there, it listens to everything around you. It starts identifying all the birds you're hearing. Super.
oh, no kidding.
So, oh yeah, check it out. It's called Merlin Bird ID, and you can take pictures of them, or you can just use your microphone. It's incredible. You get to like see all the birds that are around you. It's very, very cool. You'll get addicted to it.
Yeah, because it's easy to like use a bird book to see a bird and like identify it, but
hearing it and then reading the description of what a bird sounds like is a lot harder to do. My family and I did the same thing. It's how we, we go camping a ton, and like we kind of got into like bird identification.
Birding's fun.
And tracking it like over the years. But the sound is hard because, some of the basic ones, but when you read a book and it like tries to spell out what they sound like, it's really like hard to like, So, so it was a great week. Like I said, I saw tons of deer, had a great stands. I hit a bunch of that property. I even went kind of down by that wet area, John, and sat there one night. I mean, we sat all over the place and saw.
Yeah, you really explored. I mean, that's the nice thing about your saddles that you brought. You had free range to go anywhere, and I think you were the first guest I've had that has brought your own system like that, as far as like a climber or a saddle or anything like that. Most people that come, I mean, I've got stands set up and dispersed all over to save that hassle. I say it's a hassle, not for you, with the saddle, but yeah. So I mean, if you're looking for a place that's all turnkey, you just show up with your equipment, your bow or your gun, and I'm going to this stand or that stand or this hut. You just walk and hunt. I mean, it's really that simple when you show up. And I know LandTrust has different types of properties on their platform. Some of them aren't probably as set up. The land is available. And they're, I think they're priced more accordingly per day. So if you're kind of a go-getter and I want to take, my climber, my saddle, and I want to go figure this property out on my own and just, kind of do it that way. There's those options. I would figure my property, they're probably a little more on the higher rate side, but I mean, I stick a lot into it. There's a lot of knowledge that comes with it. A lot of stands, the huts. I mean, I went through things the other day, food plots I put in. I think every single year, my annual expenses on both properties are somewhere between $13,000 and $15,000.
Wow.
That I do between, food plots, fuel, equipment depreciation, and that's just the dollars I stick into it. And I would do that all by myself.
Right.
Just to do it. And I'm a go-getter. I'm always busy doing something. So as a landowner, I mean, this is a good fit for me because I actually spend way more time in the off season doing off-season property maintenance, clearing logging roads, the mowing, the planting, all that stuff. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy the work. I probably log, between 150 and 200 hours a year, just on property work. But, if you took that away from me, I don't know what else I would be doing. I'm sure I'd find another project to get into, but,
Hunters, listen up. Latitude Outdoors builds gear for the mobile hunter. Their saddle hunting systems are designed to cut weight, not performance, so you can cover more ground and set up fast, wherever the hunt takes you. From dense hardwoods to open ridges, their mobile-focused gear keeps you efficient and adaptable. Check out their full range at latitudeoutdoors.com.
And LandTrust is a good fit for me because I'm recently married within the last 2 years. I've got an 18-month-old daughter now.
Nice.
And so I can't go sit in a tree stand every waking moment.
Changes a little bit, huh?
It kind of changes a little bit. So to be able to share my property this way is just a really good fit. I kind of work around bookings. So if somebody books a week, I might try to sneak in the week before, the week after, or because I still need my my therapy somehow or another. So, but I enjoy the work. So,
No,
Yeah,
it
that's
was great. It was well.
It is one of the things that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Nick.
It is one of the things that our landowners have really loved about LandTrust. On both sides, the short-term model works really well. I started it because I didn't have the money to go do annual leases. Like I just didn't, right? And but I could spend a few $100, for a weekend or whatever. Especially it was in my, it was earlier. I was, you know, just kind of getting going as this idea came to me. So from an economics perspective, it's definitely cheaper than doing an annual lease. And a lot of people, when they lease somewhere, they might go once or twice a year. So it's like you're paying for the full year. So it doesn't work that well from that perspective, unless you're the guy who leases and loves to work the property. And that will always exist. Just like John was saying, he loves doing that. And there's a lot of guys that do lease and they love doing the plots. They love doing all that work, which is super cool. But then from the landowner side, all of our landowners, either they themselves or their kids or someone in their family does like to hunt. And so they want to retain that. And if you lease it out on an annual basis, like that's it. Like it's gone. You can't say yes to
Yeah, and I would never do an annual lease.
Right, exactly. So, that short-term model, it keeps the landowners 100% control. They didn't sell their property rights away for a year, 2 years, whatever. And then on the hunter side, it's a lot more economical. And, if you look at what an annual lease might have cost you, you could probably do 2 or 3 different trips in different places for different stuff.
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, if I knew LandTrust, or if LandTrust even existed before I became a property owner myself, I might not even own property today.
Right.
From the cost of the dirt to the work to what I stick into it, that kind of dollars I can, and for the amount of days I actually spend, like even if I could hunt hardcore, every single day,
Yeah.
which isn't always the best route too. If hunting, you're gonna choose your better days and your best times and things like that to go. But I could come out it'd be much more affordable in the long term to book through LandTrust to hunt, pick your rut vacation, you call it your 5 days or 7 days. And because that's really all the time you're going to spend out there anyway, throughout the year. So, I mean, right now, if I picked out even at the top end of a property on LandTrust and booked 5 days, I'd be cheaper to do that than what I spend on just food plot inputs on my own properties. So, but I'm too far down the road. No, I'm too far deep to turn it around. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could book a few ruts because our rut hasn't even started here yet. So it's
Right.
crazy to think about. It's like our rut down here. Sometimes it could be like, from what I understand, can be Valentine's Day. So I booked a quote rut or pre-rut hunt in next week.
That's crazy. So you probably kind of run like in line with like Texas, I suppose, a little bit. Or you further south of that? Yeah, it's
I'm on the Gulf here.
oh sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
John and I were just talking ahead of the podcast how sad we were that hunting season's basically wrapped up. I think we just head down by Nick, John, and knock on his door. Hey, you got a spare bedroom? We're gonna be hunting down here for a while,
Yeah, right. I'd have to run that past my wife, but with the before the married years and the daughter now, and it would have been a no-brainer. But sadly, being born and raised in Buffalo County, right along the Mississippi River, I've never gone anywhere.
Right.
Because I got everything I need here as far as is fishing and hunting. I went to Canada and I did a black bear hunt in Ontario in the early 2000s, and other than that, that is the only hunting trip I've traveled for. I've been to Canada fishing a few times, but I don't know. I had a tough time. I being really successful at my game in my own territory. It's like let me get that figured out before I try, doing it somewhere else. And but down the road, I think that's going to be a viable option for me to look at other properties and different and maybe like chase that rut south, and book a week in Missouri and just keep and get all the way down to Florida. I can't say it today because we're having like almost 50-degree temperatures, but typically it's 15 below right now. And it's like Florida's sounding pretty good when it's 15 below, you know.
Hey, give it net 1 week, and next week temps are dropping, my friend. So at least by us in Michigan, we're getting cold at, I think, tail end. Or
Yeah, we'll be there again.
it's yeah, it's funny. Well, I just was looking back, you know, if you know where I was sitting, John, where I shot that buck, to that grassy, swampy little section. Had I sat in there, you know how there's not really any tree to sit on in there.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of little sapling stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost just dead on the ground. Like that is where all those deer went. Like I almost just like tried to hunker down in there. I could never have made it work with a camera, but like back in there that's a good little spot in there. It's just
Yeah, I got I put in, it's a work in progress. There's a little clover plot right out in that clearing, just past those little sticks in that grass. There's just a little, about a half acre of clover I'm trying to get established. And there's some, I would say out of that quarter acre, I probably have about maybe an eighth, half of it. So about an eighth acre of clover that's thriving. I think after this next year, after I reseed and refertilize and maintain it some more, I think it'll be a real good plot. But where you shot that buck, I sat in that stand real early in the season. I don't know if it was the second weekend or the third weekend after opener, and it was super hot. It was probably pushing almost 90 degrees in the afternoon, and the sun is just beating. The sun's in your face in the afternoon, and I'm just dripping sitting there, and it's like, oh my God, this is crazy. The bugs were really bad. Mosquitoes were bad. I had my face net on, and you know they're getting inside and they're real irritating me. But once the sun kind of got setting over the hills and it's not beating on me anymore, a couple 3.5-year-olds came out into that clover plot, and they're just doing some real light sparring, you know, just testing out each other's manhood a little bit to, you know, see who's gonna kind of have running ranks here in a couple weeks when the rut starts kicking in. And I didn't have a shot, but like you said, if I had a little pop-up blind or a platform or something in that little bit of saplings down in there, it would have been within 15 yards of where most of them deer move. So, but I think I told you too, in the spring down in that area, depending on how much snowfall and everything we have, it's kind of in a lowland. There could be 6 feet of water covering that whole area for a duration of time. So that's one thing. Yeah, and I got to remember, I've got one, two, three, four cameras down there at $400 a piece that I run all year. I got to get down there and get them out before the spring flood comes. So,
John, by the way, you got to remember that we partnered with Reveal Tacticam, so we get like sweet deals on hardware and on the subscription for that. So just remember that.
Definitely worth checking that out. That's what we ran on this film. They're actually a sponsor of the film, so we threw a few out. We got some crazy videos. One, I think I showed you, John, that really big antlered buck chased the other one away because he had that doe bedded somewhere in there. And
yeah, that was your night clip, right? Was that at night? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like which was so cool because we're camping on the property. And I'll like see stuff or whatever, and then I'll get back because we had a tent, like a teepee set up, and I'm laying in bed, and we're just kind of, not much to do. And all of a sudden you'll see on your phone. It's like, oh, there's deer right over there right now, and it's a giant right over there. So it gets you all excited and hard to sleep for the next day, because you're within like 500 yards of those deer where I was,
Yeah, I got my notification turned off.
See the
oh man, I'd have that thing up on it all the time. It's like, I'd turn it off, and then usually, once a week or once every couple weeks, I'll go out and and I'll check them all and see where things are at. And during the rut, I might do it daily just because things are changing so much. But that instant notification, I got my emails, everything. Yeah, people always tell me, they're like, well, God, we can never get a hold of you. And I'm like, I always tell them that I'm in hunting mode because my phone's always in do not disturb. And then, it only turns on when I go and look. I can see, what I got popping up. So
that's funny. That's so funny. Well, guys, thanks for taking the time. I mean, Nick, John, you guys certainly have a sweet partnership set up. and provide a really great option. In this podcast, in the notes for people listening, I'll put a link right to the exact the farm I hunted. So go there, check it out if you want. If John's got even any availability for then, but
I feel like I feel like that is probably one of the more unique things with any hunting film I've ever seen, where it's like, and you can come hunt here too. It's not like a game farm or something, but it's so many of the hunting films, especially a lot of them that are shot on public, like you're not saying anything about where that place is. But it's really interesting. Like, no, you can come here too.
To just say it because I'm used to being so like shrouded in secrecy. Okay, like here's where I was. You know what? Anybody that's listening that does book it, send me a message. I'll tell you as much as I knew, as much as I learned. I'll send you pictures. I mean, John will have way better information than me. He tracks it all anyways. But I'm happy to talk about it. And just to, like I said, I encourage anybody listening, check out this property. Check out LandTrust. John's got 2 properties there. Lots of cool stuff to do. Yeah, like I said, thank you both for spending the time to talk about it today, for working so hard to get something like that set up for guys like me that are coming from out of state that want a good experience. John, you were awesome and a great host. I got to see you a few times and even walk the property a little bit with you. Just can't say thank you enough to both of you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting out there, man. And it's funny, when I watched the film the first time before it was released, I forgot how it ended. And I was like, yes, he got one. And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, I forgot he told me about that.
And I got to live the entire experience with him. He told me he connected with them. They got one. And, I rode that roller coaster because I'm like, yeah, we're going to get a deer. And, it's like, oh, we brought in the drone and it's like, shoot, I mean, you couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. It's like, I told him, like, I had to come back out and look for myself. I got to follow. I got to just, see, I was, wishful. I know it's smart.
I thought about it every day. So that's just how I am. I'm kind of deer hunting.
That's one that's good for the life.
Yeah. The way that arrow hit, the sound of it, the kick, I was like, you drilled him, like you got him.
The kick was like, when you see that and you kick, it's like usually it's like a heart shot, At least that's what I've been taught. It's not actually, it was clearly. And I'm like, oh, he's gone. And I heard a crash right afterwards. And so I'm like, oh, sweet, he's right. You don't even have to track him. I know where he went.
Right.
Oh, but
you have to do round 2.
That's right. Round 2, return of the me. So anyways, guys, thank you again. Everybody's listening. Like I said, I'll throw the link below. Make sure to follow us. Make sure to follow LandTrust. Check out John's property. And we'll see you next week. Guys, thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.